quickly that you could lose the significance of what's going on. So I'm just going to explain a little bit of what goes on and why we do what we do, and then as you see everything progressing, then you'll be able to understand it. Today is a very, very special day because it's the day of the 8th day of this little boy's life, and the Torah tells us that on the 8th day you're supposed to do the bris for a healthy baby boy. The Torah doesn't tell us why the 8th day. It just says that Abraham Avinu did the bris to his son Yitzchak on the 8th day. And the Orach Chaim HaKadosh writes that the reason that the baby has a bris on the 8th day is like this: every single Jewish baby boy that's born is going to go through a Shabbos before he has his bris. In other words, if baby was born on Sunday and you could do the bris on the 4th day, he would have the bris on Wednesday or Thursday, the 5th day, but he wouldn't go through a Shabbos. And Shabbos gives every single person a spiritual injection, a ruchni dika injection. And we want that the baby should have that strength. That's what the Medrash says. The baby should have strength. It doesn't mean physical strength. It means a spiritual strength. He went through a Shabbat, and then he comes to the bris. Now, what are you looking for? I have one thing.
Oh, yeah?
Now, the baby, when he's brought in, we're all going to stand, and we're going to say, Baruch Haba. Simply means, blessed is the one who comes. Except Haba has many special significance. Everybody knows that there are numerical value to every Jewish letter in the alphabet. Hey is 5, Beis is 2, Aleph is 1. That's equal 8. So we welcome the baby who comes on the 8th day. That's why we say Baruch Haba. But Haba also stands for Hinei Ba Eliyahu. There's a special chair here. You could see it on this side. Exactly say Shel Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hanavi comes in spirit to every single bris all over the world. And many people ask, why does Eliyahu Hanavi come to the bris? And there are a few different answers. But the answer that I like to give is one of the Meforshim says like this: there was a time when Jews did not observe the mitzvah of bris milah. And Eliyahu Hanavi complained to Hashem and said, how could the Jews not do such an important mitzvah? So Hashem said, you know something? Because you stood up for the mitzvah and it meant something to you and you said something about it, you're going to be rewarded that at every single bris, you're going to be remembered. So every bris, no matter where it is in the world, Eliyahu Hanavi, there's a special chair that's placed for Eliyahu Hanavi. Now really, Rabbi Amon, the father, he's the one that's supposed to do the brit milah. I'm only the proxy, the shliach. And right before the bris, I'm going to give him the knife, and he's going to hold it for a moment. He's not going to do anything with it, hopefully, but he's going to hold it, and he's going to appoint me to be the shliach to do the bris. Now, one of the most important things that we do at a bris is to give the baby his Hebrew name. And why does he get his Hebrew name? Because Abraham Avinu, when he had his bris, Hashem changed his name. He was Avram, and then Hashem added the letter Hey, and he became Avraham. But there's another reason also. Just like he gets his physical identity of being a Jew, because he has his Brit, he gets his spiritual Jewish identity by having a Hebrew name, and that's why it's so important to use your Hebrew name. And I want to show you something interesting. Do you have the book? Okay. So many years ago, Hashem blessed me with the idea that I was able to write this book for ArtScroll on Brit Milah. My favorite part of the book is about names. And I want to show you something that happened when I was writing this book. That was in the 1980s, before I had a computer. And I saw something from the Rabbi Elimelech, who was a great Hasidic rabbi, who said that one of the most important decisions that parents make is the Hebrew name they give their child. Because the neshama of a child that gets a name is connected to the neshama of the person who had the name. So that's why we never name anybody Esav, we never name anybody Korach, terrible people or people that had a bad luck. We only name after good people, tzaddikim, wonderful people, because the neshamot are connected. I was so impressed with that I wanted to write it in here. I wanted to write it in the book, but I didn't have a computer. I had what's called a typewriter, if you know what that is. And I took out the typewriter and I wrote the word neshama, and I almost fainted. I wrote it in my hand. Nun, Shin, Mem, Hey. What are the two middle letters of the word neshama? Shin, and Mem, Shem. So here, the Rebbe Olamelech is saying that through the name, the Neshamos are connected, and it's right there. It's in the word Neshama. So it occurred to me, so what's the Nun and the Hey on the outside of the word Neshama? That's the Ne Hashem. We each have Hashem's spark of life in us. So we are going to do the bris. We're going to say Baruch Haba when the baby comes in, and then we're going to say, because it's a Sephardic bris, we're going to say extra beautiful, beautiful prayers. I wish the Ashkenazim would do that. We're going to say the Shema Yisrael. We're going to say Hashem Melech, Ana Hashem Hoshiana. Beautiful, beautiful prayers. And then the father, after he makes the bracha about the bris, he's going to say Shechayanu. The Rambam holds that you're supposed to say Shechayanu because that's the time that's very, very special in a family. Other people feel that because the baby has some discomfort, so we don't say Shechayanu. But here, today, we're going to say the bracha Shechayanu, and then at the end, after the bris, after we give the baby his Hebrew name, we're going to say Aleinu, Shaloi Asanu to Goyei Haratzos. We are different than the Goyim. The Goyim don't have a bris, and we do have a bris, so that's why we say Aleinu afterwards. So all these things happen very, very quickly. But now you'll know why Baruch Haba, why Eliyahu Hanavi, why the father holds a knife, why they give the baby the name, and why we say Eliyahu, Aleinu L'Shabeach. And if you have any questions, not during the bris, you could ask me afterwards. It's no problem.